Do you want to know how to potty train your child in 3 days? In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what to do in day 1, 2, and 3. So stay tuned. Welcome, I'm Holly McLean, the Mommy Answer Lady. If you haven't been here before, I'm a mom of 9, I'm a certified parent educator, and I've written a book called How to Train Your Child to Behave. I do weekly content on this channel to help you become the most effective parent you can be, so I hope you like this video and share and subscribe. First thing I want to let you know, this is the third in a 3-part series on potty training in 3 days. So there's readiness, preparation, and the process. So if you haven't seen readiness and preparation, you want to go back and check those out first and then come back here and I'll meet you then. If you have already seen the readiness and preparation, then we're ready for the process. Remember, there are links in the description below with all the notes for readiness, preparation, and process, and also any of the things that I say you might need or to get prepared for, those are also in the description below. So I also want to remind you that one thing I said, it's better to start late than too early. Don't forget that. So before we start into day 1, I want to give you 3 things to remember and think about as you're going through this process. Number 1, be patient and kind. You want to be patient and kind and not get angry or frustrated. I know that's kind of hard to do when they make a mistake. Now, I know you guys already know that, but you know, I really need to still say it. Just keep in mind you want to always be kind and patient. Number 2, be consistent. Remember that the more consistent you are, the faster they will learn. And also you want to be consistent in the idea that once you start, you keep going. I know that sometimes you'll get discouraged in here and there, but don't be. It's part of the process, so just keep going. Also keep in mind, they will be potty trained. You don't know any adults that aren't potty trained. You don't know any middle school children that aren't potty. You know, eventually it will happen. No matter what process you use mine, use somebody else's, it don't matter. They're going to be potty trained, so it's going to be okay, and just keep going. Number 3, do not spank or otherwise punish for mistakes. Keep in mind that your child wants to be successful, so they want to do it, and they're going to make some mistakes and accidents. That's going to happen, and so that's nothing that they can help. So you want to make sure that you don't punish them or anything like that for a mistake or an accident. You also don't want them to be afraid of the process, so you want to make it something fun and encouraging. Okay, one more thing. I want to just tell you to stay tuned after the 3rd day process. You know, I'm telling you day 1, 2, 3. Stay tuned till after that, because after that I'm going to tell you about nighttime and nap time, and I'm going to tell you how to follow up after those 3 days. So don't go away. So here's what you're going to do on day 1. When they first get up, you're going to be really excited and say, this is potty training day. And you know what? You've been doing that diaper countdown, so they're already knowing this is coming. And so they're going to be excited too. You want to take them into the bathroom and you want to talk to them about the toilet, show them how to flush it just so that they're aware of where they're going, that all that waste is going to be going, and they're kind of aware about the toilet. You can also talk to them about why you flush the toilet, because you want the waste to go away from the home so that your home can be really clean. Next, you want to put on the t-shirt that I told you about. You want to, and no pants under it, just the t-shirt, because you don't want them to have any support on their bottom half. You want them to feel different. Remember, as they have grown every single day, all day long, other than when they're in the bathtub or they're getting the diaper changed, they've had something on their bottom and they felt that support and all, you know, that tight diaper. So that not having that on is going to be a different feeling while they're walking around, and that's good. You want them to have a different feeling. You want them to feel like this is a different day. Also, not having anything supporting underneath there is going to make them want to go somewhere to go to the potty, and that's what you want. Talk about how the body feels before going. Do you want to explain again about the bladder and bowels? You've already talked to them about anatomy when you were doing the preparing, and you've talked to them about how the food goes through the body, so you just want to go over that again with them and remind them about that feeling. You can even read that book together again, that one that I suggested about how food is processed through the body. So when you talk about that feeling, remind them to communicate. When they start getting that feeling, that means that food and that fluid has gone down to that part of their body and they start to feel that. Have them communicate with you. Say, let mommy know when you feel that. Then you want to get those M&Ms and the Skittles and you want to put them in view. So anytime that they go even a little bit in the potty, they get a Skittle or they get an M&M, or if you chose raisins or whatever. Now you also want to remind them of the underwear goal. Remember, you always want to point to that ultimate long-term goal of being able to wear those underwear that they chose. Then you want to have a sippy cup with them all day. That sippy cup is going to have them, encourage them to drink. And the more they drink, the more opportunity they're going to have to go in the potty. And you want them to have plenty of opportunities. It's really a good idea to put some juice in that cup, even though I don't normally want them to drink too much juice. I'm sure you don't either. But you can water it down a little bit. You can dilute it. But the more fluid that goes through their body, the more opportunity they're going to have to practice going on the potty. Next, you want to watch for signs that they need to go. So what you're going to be looking for is them shuffling their feet back and forth, them going off to those places. Remember, we talked about that in the other video. You want to just watch for those signs, and as soon as you see it, one of the signs is if they stop what they're doing suddenly. They're doing something and all of a sudden they stop doing it. That's a sign that they might need to go potty. So kind of watch for those signs throughout the day. Okay, so as soon as you've taken them to the potty and let them try to sit on the potty chair and go potty, then you want to, as soon as they're done, you want to set that timer for 20 to 30 minutes and tell them, show them the timer and say when it goes off, when it dings, then it's going to be time for us to try again. Now, if they do an accomplishment on the potty chair, then you want to acknowledge that accomplishment, of course, with the Skittles or the M&Ms or whatever, but also you want to say something to them encouraging, but don't be too crazy about it. You don't want to get too crazy. Remember, they're going to do this throughout the day and that will get old, right? So instead, you just want to keep it level. You want to keep it and say, good job, you did it, good for you. And so if they make that accomplishment, great. If they make a mistake, you don't want to do that crazy either. You don't want to get really bad or sad or make a big deal of it. You just want to say, oh, that's too bad. You made a mistake. It's time to clean it up. Next, you want them to flush and clean up. So after they've gone, whether they made a mistake or whether they actually went in the potty or on the potty chair, you want them to clean up because they need to start taking responsibility for their own going to the potty, okay? So although, of course, you don't want them to empty the potty chair, you want to open it up and take it over to the toilet and they can watch you put it in the toilet or whatever, but then let them flush it. Let that, if they've gone on the floor, you want them to take some toilet paper and maybe clean that up if possible, depending on if it's pee or not. And then them take that toilet paper and put it in the toilet and flush the toilet and all that. And then you want them to learn to clean their own hands up with the soap and on all that. You want them to take as much responsibility as they can. You want to get them in the habit of doing that, okay? You don't want to do everything for them because the more that you do for them, the less involved in the process they will be and the longer it will take for them to get done with this whole thing. Then throughout the day, you want to do that craft with them. You want to do that game with them. You want to watch a movie together. Then the recipe, have them make the recipe with you. You know, you have things that you've planned out already that we already talked about in those other videos. You plan those things out together so that the whole day is fun and engaging and interactive and you're building a bond with your child at the same time. Remember, if you have a yard, remember to take the timer with you if you decide to go outside for a little bit so that they can still see that timer going and it will remind you to take them to the potty on time. Okay, so now we're ready for day 2. Probably on day 1 you had some successes and you had some mistakes and accidents, and that's all okay and it's part of the process. On day 2, a lot of times parents start to get a little bit discouraged and a little bit frustrated because they're just like, why aren't they going in the potty all the time? You know what? It's part of the process. Just remember the mistakes and accidents are going to happen. You're going to have a very, very abnormal child if they haven't made a lot of mistakes already. And they're going to make a few today, and that's okay. So when they first get up in the morning, you're going to do the same thing before breakfast. They're going to wear the t-shirt. They're not going to wear anything underneath it. And all that. You're going to go through the book. You're going to talk about all that and, you know, the anatomy, the food going through their body, how they're going to feel before they have to go. Remind them to communicate to you and all that. Do that kind of all that stuff. Then tell them something's going to be different after breakfast. So then you go ahead and have them go have breakfast, take them to the potty after breakfast, and then bring out the training pants. When you bring out the training pants, say, these pants are the pants that are the next step right before you get to wear the great, wonderful underwear that you chose. Okay? So you're gonna say, as soon as you can keep these dry for one full day, dry and clean, then you get to wear those great underwear that you picked out that we have in the place of honor in our home, right? Then you have them put those pants on and those training pants under their t-shirt, and you say, hey, remember, you want to keep these dry and clean, okay? Now, they're probably going to make a mistake. It's okay, just part of the process. Okay, so now through the day, they're going to feel a little different than day one, because day one, they didn't have anything on the bottom. Now day two, they have these training pants on, so that's going to feel different. And you want to get several pairs of those, of course, so you'll be ready. And then whenever they make a mistake in the training pants, you do the same thing. You say, oh, that's too bad you made a mistake. I guess you'll have to clean up. I'll help you. Now sometimes if they poo in them, there's not a lot they're going to be able to do with that. You're going to have to clean those up yourself. Hopefully they won't do too much of that, but you know, it is potty training, so there you go. Okay, and then you got the rest of your plans for the day. You got your craft, you got your movie, you got your recipe, you got your game. You want to go ahead and do those things throughout the day. Don't forget, we're going to talk about naps and nighttime after we get past day 3. All right, so now we're at day 3. Day 3 is basically a repeat of day 2, and you're going to see that as they go through day 3, they're going to start doing better and better and better. They're going to start making less and less accidents and more going on the potty, and hopefully communicating with you. That's one of the things that's really difficult. Some children just have a really hard time remembering to tell their mom or dad that they have to go potty. So you want to really encourage that communication. Talk to them again about how the food goes through the body, how it's going to reach the bottom, their intestinal area, and when they start feeling like it's there, then they need to tell you. Now that we're at day 3 though, if they've done more successes than accidents, you might want to start moving that timer up a little bit, maybe 30 to 40 minutes. That's going to be at your discretion. You're going to have to decide how well they're doing. So don't worry about it. Every child's going to be a little bit different. Now there's going to be some children, because they've gone through the readiness and the preparation, and they're maybe almost 3, that by day 3, they're doing great. They're not going anywhere except in the potty. You're seeing a lot of success. That's going to happen to some children, and that's great, but it's not going to happen to everybody. And actually, it's more the exception than the rule. Most of the time, day 3 is another repeat of day 2 with just a lot more success going on during the day than mistakes. So it's just the way it is. It's okay. Remember, potty training will happen in the end. So basically, day 3 is all about consistency. Keep it going, keep doing what you're doing, and eventually they'll get it. Okay, now I'm going to tell you about nighttime and nap time, and then we'll talk about what to do after day 3. So about an hour before they're going to go to sleep, and this will be day 1, 2, and 3, about an hour before they're going to go to sleep, take a nap or go to bed, you want to stop giving them fluids. So take their sippy cup and say, hey, let's put this aside. If they start to get upset about the fact that you're taking their sippy cup away, you want to say, you know what? Remember how the food goes through the body and the fluid goes through the body? Well, you're going to be sleeping, so you don't want that fluid to be going through your body. So we want it to go on through, and then you get to lay down. So you can kind of tell them about that. All right, so now we're going to talk about a personal decision as a parent. Some parents like to take that diaper off and then they never use any kind of barrier again. So they're not willing to go back, use pull-ups or diapers or anything at nighttime or nap time. And other parents do. I am one that used pull-ups at nighttime and nap time. But if you decide you don't want to do that and you want to use training pants instead, that's up to you. Don't stress about it. Whatever you want to do is okay. I liked to use pull-ups because I didn't want to keep changing the bed over and over again if they make a mistake when they're sleeping. You know, a child isn't necessarily ready to wake up when they're unconscious. If they're ready consciously and awake to know when they have to go potty and then go in the potty, they may be ready for that, but that doesn't mean when they're unconscious and sleeping that they're actually ready for that. So you have to make the decision yourself. I personally used pull-ups and I thought it was great. So right before they go to sleep for nap time or nighttime, I would make sure they go potty right before, and then I put the pull-ups on or let them pull them on and say, hey, it would be great if you can keep these dry. Just give it a try. And then they go to sleep. Sometimes they'd be dry and sometimes they wouldn't. And then as soon as they get up, they go to the potty, we take those off and we continue with the process. So you want to do that at night and nap time. Now I do have an idea for you in case that you want to try to train their brain to wake up. And that is, there is an alarm type system that you can put on them that will wake them up when they start to wet their pants or start to go while they're sleeping. And that's a really good idea especially if you have ongoing trouble with this. If you want to get that alarm, that's a good idea, because what it does is it goes off when they start to go potty in their pants, when they start to pee in their pants, and that will train their brain that as soon as they start getting that feeling when they're sleeping, then they know what's coming. They're going to be waking up, and it'll help them learn to wake up. But you can give that a try if you want to. That is in the description below if you want to click that and find it and see if that might work for you. That's fine. Otherwise, don't stress about nighttime and nap time. You can use a pull-up, you can use training pants. Nighttime's going to be a whole different matter than when they're awake. So you do whatever works for you. I'm going to suggest the pull-ups during that time. And remember, part of this is not struggling. And to me, it's struggling if you have to change their sheets at nighttime and nap time. Too much struggle, not necessary. So daytime readiness doesn't actually mean nighttime readiness. So don't stress about it. As you know, a mattress protector is always something to have when you have little children. You always want to have a mattress protector when you have a child. It's a good idea. So here they've reached their ultimate goal. Let's say they've gone through one full day and they've kept their pants dry and clean. Awesome, that's wonderful. So you want to reward them with that ultimate goal, that pair of underwear that they chose. They're going to be excited. You can be excited with them. So let's talk about what you do after the 3 days, because you want to follow up, right? It is kind of common in the first year or so, even definitely in the first few weeks, but even up to the first year or so, that a child's going to make a mistake here and there. Always have an extra pair of clothes, so if you're going somewhere, have an extra set of clothes for them in case they do make a mistake. Also, remember that potty seat that I suggested that you get. I like the one, again, that folds up so you can put it in your car with you. It'll make it a lot easier if you have to take them to an adult toilet. If you have that folded potty seat, you can just take it out, unfold it, and they can use the potty without having that great big hole underneath them. It's a little scary. For the first week or two after that 3 days, you still want to keep them going to the bathroom about once an hour during the day, just to keep them in the process, just to keep them going. Next, you want to inform the caregivers that they've just been potty trained, and in order to keep that momentum going, you want to ask them to be sure and take the child to the potty or have them go to the potty about once an hour or so, because you don't want them to make mistakes if they can help it, right? Keep encouraging communication. Make sure that you encourage that communication so that whenever they tell you they have to go potty, you want to say, good job, you told me, good for you. You want to make sure and encourage that. So now you have that process. Has this video been helpful to you? If so, please hit that like button. That really helps me out when you do that. Leave a comment below. That helps me too. And I'd love it if you'd subscribe. And parents, you know what? You can do this. It's gonna be okay. That potty training thing is gonna be over soon. I hope to see you here next week.